Hello everybody and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we got a pretty good lineup for you guys. I think we have 6 first appearances, 2 honorable mentions, so 8 titles in all to go through. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week, beginning April 25th, 2025. First up from DC Comics, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 2. This features the first appearance of White Martian. Now, I mention this every time there's a first appearance of a new character in any of these Absolute titles. These are books you definitely want to pick up and have in your collection. A lot of the premier issues of the Absolute series, such as Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, those are incredibly popular with fans and collectors. And anytime there's a first appearance of a new character or a new Absolute version of an existing character, those books also trade at a premium on the secondary market. These are books you definitely don't want to miss at the cover price. So this one here is one we do think you should definitely pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from DC Comics, Harley Quinn number 50. This features the first team appearance of the Gun Buddies. Now oftentimes when they spin off characters from more mainstay or more tentpole title series, they don't necessarily do all that well in their own series. But Harley Quinn is probably the exception. There's been a lot of issues from the Harley Quinn standalone series. They're very popular with fans and collectors, very highly collected, and do trade at a premium in the secondary market. This here is Harley Quinn number 50. This here is volume 4 of Harley Quinn, the standalone series. And this here does feature this first team appearance of the Gun Buddies. Now, I'm not really sure how important this Gun Buddies team is going to be in the overall DC universe, or even in this Harley Quinn series. But this here is the first team appearance. And like I said, this Harley Quinn standalone series, definitely one of the more highly collected and popular series for a spin-off character. So this one here may be worth picking up. Definitely going to be a little more speculative, but $3 or $4, maybe worth a spec. Like I said, Harley Quinn, this series is popular with fans and collectors. So grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Avengers number 25. This features the first team appearance of a new Master of Evil. Now, like we always mention with the Marvel titles, typically a good idea to pick up the first appearance of new characters or new teams in the Marvel titles, just because, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of media for the small screen and big screen. If any of these new teams or new characters hit the screen, collectors will race back to the comics to try to find these first appearances. With that being said, though, this new Masters of Evil team, I'm not really sure how important this team is going to be in the overall Marvel universe or in this here standalone Avengers series. I think we're on volume 9 of the Avengers standalone title series, and a ton of issues from the Avengers standalone series are incredibly popular, highly priced in the secondary market. A lot of these trade for big money, especially highly graded. So the fact that this issue does feature the first team appearance of this new Masters of Evil team, this one here probably still worth picking up. Like I said, anytime there's first appearance of a new team or a new character in a Marvel title, typically worth owning at the cover price. This is one we do think you should probably pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, Predator vs. SpiderMan number 1. This here is the first appearance of Skinner, a Predator. Now this one here, definitely no-brainer. This is one you should definitely pick up for your collection. This here is the premiere issue of this 4-issue limited series featuring Predator and Spider-Man, 2 incredibly popular IPs with huge fan base and huge collector bases. There's been a lot of comic book team-ups with Predator in the past. I think a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, they did a Predator-Archie team-up. Those issues still trade well over $100 in the secondary market, especially for high grade. And this here features Predator and Spider-Man. Definitely Spider-Man is more popular and more heavily collected than Archie. So this Predator versus Spider-Man team up, we expect this to be huge. We expect this to be a fan favorite. And this here is a premiere issue. And this here does have the first appearance of Skinner, a Predator. So this one here, no brainer. Pick this one here up for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, X-Men number 15. This features the first full team appearance of 3K. Now, when they introduce new characters into the X-Men universe, you typically want to pick up those characters if they appear in the X-Men title series or the Uncanny X-Men title series. Those are the 2 main title series for the X-Men franchise. And this here issue does feature this full team appearance of 3K. Don't really know how important that team is going to be in the overall Marvel universe or in the X-Men universe, but they are introducing this team into one of the title series that you do want to pay attention to. So this one here is going to be a little more speculative because, you really don't know what they have planned for 3K. But, like I always say, typically worth picking up the first appearance of new teams and characters in Marvel titles. Now that Marvel has the cinematic rights to X-Men again, you could definitely expect a lot more X-Men content to hit the screen, both small and big. So if they bring this 3K team onto the small screen, big screen, definitely expect collectors to race back and try to find this first full team appearance. So this here is one we do think you should pick up for the cover price. So grab this here for your collection if you can. And finally from Image Comics, Medieval Spawn number 1. This features the first team appearance of the Hell Knights. This here is also the premiere issue of this new Medieval Spawn title series. Now, Spawn has been getting a lot more attention in the past few years. There's definitely been a lot more buzz about the Spawn character and the Spawn universe. And a lot of the Spawn titles that have emerged over the past few years are definitely popular with fans and collectors, and they do trade at a premium secondary market, especially in high grade. So the fact that this here is the premiere issue of the Medieval Spawn title series, and this here actually has a first team appearance with the Hell Knights, this one here is probably worth picking up for the cover price. Definitely going to be a little more speculative, because Spawn is definitely not as heavily collected as some of the DC and Marvel superheroes, but like I said, has been getting a lot more attention in recent years, and if they do bring the Spawn character or the Spawn franchise to the small screen and big screen like they've been talking about for the past couple years, you could definitely expect there to be a lot more attention going back to the comic books, especially these first appearances. So this one here, like I said, is going to be speculative, probably worth a spec though. Grab this here for a spec if you can. And now for the honorable mentions. From Dynamite Entertainment, Captain Planet #1. Now we put this on the list because this here is the premiere issue of this new title series from Dynamite. And this Captain Planet series has been getting some chatter in the industry. That's why we included it, just to let you guys know. Anytime there's chatter in the industry about a certain title before it comes out, that's typically a good sign. This one here is definitely going to be speculative because this is being published by Dynamite. They don't necessarily have the best track record for bringing new comics to market and having them stay important or collectible long term. But over the past year or so, they have had a lot of big successes. So this one here may be worth picking up at the cover price. This is definitely going to be speculative, probably the most speculative one on our list today. But like I said, Dynamite has had some hits recently. But this is Captain Planet, not one of the more popular or heavily collected characters or franchises in the comic book industry. But like I said, there has been some chatter, so it may be worth some consideration. So pick this up for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally from Image Comics, Spawn Rat City #13. Now we put this on the list because this here does have a printing error. There's a $3.99 price printed on the cover, but distributors have contacted comic shops that this book is supposed to be priced at $2.99, so to sell it at $2.99. So the fact that this here is considered a price misprint of $3.99 over $2.99, this one here may be important long term just because of the misprinted price. That is, of course, unless comic book shops do sell this at the $3.99 cover price, and that price is what is accepted by the public, then this here is just going to be a $3.99 price comic book. But if comic shops do actually respect the distributor price of $2.99 and sell this here to the public at that price, then the $3.99 cover price misprint may be collectible in the future. So this one is definitely going to be speculative because like I said, if comic shops do sell this at that $3.99 price, then the perceived value of this comic will just be $3.99. But like I said, the value is in the misprint of the price on this. So like I said, definitely going to be speculative, maybe worth picking up though. Grab this here for a spec if you can. So there you have the 8 titles we have for you guys this week. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.